Hello everybody and welcome to Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. I'm Jack, and if you're looking for PTCGO codes, including the latest set battle styles, make sure you check out the Poketown store, where you can get an extra 5% off your order with code Omnipoke. Today, I'm taking a look at sort of a more straight Dragapult list as opposed to Dragapult with Urshifu. Obviously, Draga has been doing okay, but we have seen some success from sort of straight Dragapult lists as well in the past couple of weeks. This is a bit different to the lists that we've seen though. Typically they've been a little bit more techy than this. I've tried to cut back on some of the techs and just try and streamline things a little bit more, make things a little bit more consistent. But naturally this type of deck can play a lot of different very, very interesting cards. So yeah, not going to focus too much on the deck list. Pretty standard. We've got a 4-3 Dragapult line. Obviously, Dragapult great against a lot of these Psychic weak Pokemon at the moment. Pretty bad against Eternatus, but Eternatus is being subdued a little bit by a couple of the decks in the format, so that's why Dragapult is kind of coming out of the woodworks to some extent. 2 very, very strong attacks. Shred goes through all effects of your opponent's active Pokemon, so it can get through Altarias, Decidueyes, Zamazentas, all of that stuff, as well as going through things like Luke Metal's GX attack, and Metal Goggles and stuff like that. It's still not a very good matchup, but that being said, you do get through that, which is cool. And then Max Phantom for 2 Psychic Energies of 130, and you put 5 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. This is really good for setting up things like Crobat and Dedenne on the bench. Obviously, 180 and 160 work perfectly because we're doing 130 from the damage, and the 5 counters pushes it up to 180 across 2 turns. So you can sort of do 130 to 1 and 5 to 1 on the bench, and then boss up the other one and take 4 prizes, which is really nice. We've seen that kind of strategy do very, very well with Urshifu. Obviously, that's 2 snipes, though. This is placing damage counters, so this actually gets around Mew as well, which is very good. You actually like seeing Mews on the board, in all fairness, because they're also very easy targets to deal with Max Phantom, simply because, well, any of these sort of low HP basics, things like the Mad Partiers, your Mews, Jirachis, all of that stuff, really, really good for putting pressure on those on the bench. Especially when we're also playing this sort of Scoop Up Net package, which lets you do some additional counters with Zigzagoon. So that's pretty cool. Like I say, we're playing the Scoop Up Net package, so we've got sort of a Jirachi engine in here, as well as 1 Zigzagoon, 1 Giratina with Dimensional Breach or Dimension Breach to disrupt the opponent's energy a little bit, and then 1 Mime Report Mewtwo to just keep reusing some of these very, very strong supporters. So yeah, rounding off the list, just a couple of Dedenne and 1 Crobat. There's been some lists that do well playing Power Plant over Swell. We're playing Swell today, but there's been some lists doing well playing Power Plant, sort of cutting the Dedennes, maybe adding a Crobat here and there, and just going a purely non-GX ability-based list to also get around things like Jirachi GX. But honestly, you don't mind seeing Jirachi GXs down because, again, they're kind of similar to the Dedennes and the Crobats of the world, where they're just very, very easy prizes for you. 1 hit with Dragapult plus a few sprinkles here and there, and you're in business. So yeah, really, really nice sort of variation of the deck. But I found it a little bit clunkier than just sort of running a couple of Dedennes and a Swell and just trying to get onto the board. So yeah, I'm going with this list, but we've seen success from other lists in the past. I think it was one of the top 8 lists that played something similar to that. So yeah, the top 8 list also played a Blacephalon from Cosmic Eclipse, which obviously also does some sprinkling of damage counters. I don't hate it, but obviously our only real energy acceleration is EXP share, and EXP share isn't the most reliable in all fairness. So again, it felt like a cuttable card simply because I just want to be attaching to Dragapults early. I didn't want all of these sort of bells and whistles. So yeah, but there's definitely options to play that. And also there was a Dragapult Cataday list due, not terribly, in one of the tournaments recently as well, where you would sort of sprinkle or Max Phantom something, and then later on knock it out with Esper or, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, very interesting lists there. But again, I've just sort of gone with a super basic build, as we often do with the channel. Strip everything back, teach you about the archetype, and then let you add in your techs here and there. Other than that, again, fairly standard. We've got a 5-3 energy split. The reason for the 5 over the sort of 4-4 horror is because we're playing double spinner, because we're playing the Jirachi engine. This gives us outs to finding energy from Jirachi, which is very important. This deck's biggest weakness, outside of just dark type being its weakness, is hammers, and it's so important to get a Terminal Energy attachment. This deck is fairly slow tempo. It builds up the tempo mid-game because you're starting to pressure things on the bench before they're ready to come in. But in the early turns, you're really not doing much. So you have to be getting these energy attachments on. So being able to have Jirachi as an out for energy rather than just more physical energy cards is also really, really good. Also playing some hammers. Again, we want to slow the opponent down. We're quite a slow deck. We want to slow them down, try and stop them sort of going off, trying to get us into the game. Once we're into the game, hopefully we can start preying on some of these Dedennes and Crobats. And yeah, other than that, fairly standard. We've got the 4 research, 4 Marnie, 3 boss count. Pretty solid in all fairness. With Mewtwo, we have access to a lot of different options here. 4 quick balls, 3 communication, for being able to find your Dragapult Vs and all of your sort of one prize basics to be able to scoop up net. And then a plethora of switching options, 2 rope, 3 net and 3 switch, just so you're always able to move your Jirachis, but also reuse things like Zigzagoon, Giratina and Mewtwo. And also Escape Rope kind of works as a pseudo boss, especially if you're already pressuring the bench. You can really start applying some pressure then with Max Phantom instead on some of these targets that you've started to put damage counters on, which is really good, as well as it kind of being somewhat disruption-y as well. If your opponent's sort of building up one big attacker, maybe you can go for kind of an Escape Rope Marnie play to try and force them to have to find switch, and from a Marnie that can be sometimes quite difficult. So yeah, really interesting stuff. The lists that we've seen do well also have played a variety of different cards, things like Reset Stamp, Fan of Waves, you know, all of these kind of tech cards that we've seen in the past. Again, none of them really floated my boat too much because I think I just wanted to make a list as consistent as possible, getting into the game, attaching energy turn 1, and trying to guarantee that turn 2 Max Phantom, getting into the game as quickly as possible because, like I say, this is a fairly slow deck. You are attacking 4, 5, 6 times before you're getting all of your prizes in a lot of matchups, so you want to be kicking off the race as quickly as possible. Again, hence playing the hammers to try and slow down the opponent in that regard as well. So yeah, pretty standard. There's really nothing spicy about this list. There's lots of things there's lots of places you can take it. But for me personally, like I say, I think the biggest thing is just getting onto the board and really trying to lean into Max Phantom and this sort of damage counter placement and try and frustrate the opponent with forcing them to, or trying to stop them benching some of these very useful Pokemon at the moment. So yeah, we'll get a couple of games. It does definitely feel sort of a lot less aggressive than some of the Urshifu lists because it can't do 150 for 1 like the Urshifu lists can, and it can't do the big sniping attacks, but it can at least sort of, like I say, apply pressure in a different way, which is really nice when we're seeing a fair few lists sort of move back to Jirachi, which is cool. Looks like we've got a Psychic deck box. This looks to be greens. I think this is greens. I think this is greens Dragapult. So we're getting a boatload of cards here. We still managed to miss a Dragapult plus attachment turn 1, I guess. We did hit the com though, which is good. We really don't need this Crobat right now. I'm a bit scared of them having hammers, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going to definitely get the swell down just to avoid any nasty power plant stuff early on. Good thing about us playing Dragapult is it should be not too bad for us to be able to apply pressure to something like an unidentified fossil in order to try and take some prizes there before it can turn into an Omastar. Or not take some prizes, but deal with it before it can turn into an Omastar, which is important. So what do we have prized? I'm going to sneeze. What do we have prized? Giratina's in the deck. I don't think it's going to be too important. They do play horrors, but, you know. A couple of switching outs by the looks of it, but nothing major, which is good. We saw them play Fan, so I'm going to attach a basic energy for now. The thing about this hand is it's just, there's so many options. I need to work out what the best option here is. The fact that we're going to get to attack first is probably very, very good, to be honest. We have Marnie for the inevitable greens as well, which is great. I think I'm just going to Stellar Wish here. I don't think we need to do anything major. EXP share is pretty good. They probably play some kind of jammer or something like that. I'll be surprised if we get to attach this EXP share, because I'm probably going to have to... Oh no, we probably will. We probably will. Because we're probably going to go Scoop Up Net. We're probably going to Stellar Wish, Scoop Up Net, and then com that away for the VMAX. So yeah, we probably will get to play that, to be honest. But I think this is fine. They might Marnie us, to be honest. We have a massive hand, so I could see a Marnie here. But a Marnie is not terrible. It means they're not greensing, which is good. If they're Marnieing themselves, that's really going to limit their options as well. There's the spinner from them. There's one power plant down. Just the bite. Okay, so now... So we really don't want to Marnie them, because they look like they did nothing. I think, first things first, we should probably see the outcome of these before we decide... Before we make any other decisions. Werbo's tails, which is unfortunate. Let's drop a Stellar Wish. The real question is, am I willing to research this hand? I think I am, and because of that, I'm not gonna use that. So we're gonna pick up this Jirachi. We'll be combing it away for the VMAX. Again, we know they play Fan, so Horror's a bit scary, but they shouldn't be applying too much pressure, which is good. I think I am going to research this hand. We're not losing all that much in terms of resources, to be honest. And it would be good to find more hammers to try and hammer off the energy. Looks like we're not going to, though, but that's okay. I think this is fine to just max Phantom here. Obviously, they're kind of in top deck mode anyway. So the key thing that turn was just to make sure we got the max Phantom to try and apply pressure on the donk if we can. Not a very exciting game, I guess, but a win nonetheless. A win nonetheless. This is why I prefer... So obviously, Green's Dragapult is a completely different direction you can take the deck. Again, another deck that was very successful that won one of the bigger tournaments this past weekend, or last week at some point. I don't remember what day it was, but yeah, another archetype that won a big tournament, another way of playing Dragapult. That's always the scary thing to me about Green's decks, though, especially in a world of not using supporter turn 1, not having access to Dedenne or Crobat, and Marnie just being a thing at any point in the game. The natural sort of order of energy in the deck is lower than in most decks as well, or like not energy, but like the draw support account is usually like fairly standard, but the kind of the usefulness of those draw supporters is somewhat in question, just because sometimes you'll see like you'll Marnie them to like 4 or something, and really you're not really producing anything from that Marnie, because you'll have like 3 cards and maybe a greens or something, and the greens just won't get you there. So yeah, we need to find an energy. Like I say, energy is almost entirely the backbone of the deck. Unfortunately, we haven't, which really sucks. I think we probably have to put the research on top, right? Missing energy is a big deal. Hopefully it won't be entirely game losing, but it's certainly not good. It's certainly not good. There's a Stellar Wish. I expect we're against some kind of fire deck because they wanted us to go second. So I'm expecting like a Center Scorch or yeah, a Baby Blounds or something. I maybe should have held this EXP share. I think I should have held this EXP share on reflection. Because if this gets knocked out, we can just bench another and attach the EXP share. Whereas now, we're also promoting the Jirachi anyway, it's fine. Okay, so there's a Reshizard. Reshizard isn't the scariest thing for this deck. Obviously 300 means that they have to double ping, which can be not difficult, but not the easiest thing in the world. We don't really push Outrage into any particularly scary ranges. It can two-shot us, but that's fine, because we can two-shot them with Ziggy Ping, which is really cool. But also, like I say, we're able to pressure down the Dedenne, the Jirachis and the Dedennes and that kind of stuff on their bench. So yeah. They can obviously go for a Ziggy Ping here and just get the one-shot with Double Blaze here. That would be a little bit scarier, to be honest. Looks like they're going to have it as well. Yeah, there's the Ziggy Ping. So they are going to commit to the KO here. Which sucks considering we don't have an energy on the board to be able to at least start peppering this up. We're not going to be able to do really anything next turn. So we're probably going to be going down 3 prizes before we're really online here, which sucks. Hopefully we can get some value out of this hammer at least to try and force them to have to Welder from a 2-card hand. That'd be good. There is at least one heads, which is good. Kind of a shame we're not getting use out of this Jirachi, this Scoop Up Net, unless we use the Jirachi now. What are we going to be looking for from Jirachi? We're going to be looking for Calm, Spinner. Basically only common Spinner. But I think it's worth it. Okay, we hit a Spinner. Because I want to try and get value out of this net if we can. Which we can, which is good. I'm going to drop this one down and attach it here so that we can hopefully make use of the XP share. And I'm also going to, even though we're seeing a second boss go in the bin, I think I'm going to feed them the Mewtwo. If I feed them the Mewtwo, they only have to KO one Dragapult VMAX. But they only have to KO one Dragapult VMAX anyway, and if we feed them to Dedenne, we can never really play another Dedenne or another Crobat. So I think I feed them the Mewtwo here. Again, kind of sucks that the second boss is going, but in all fairness, I'd rather, I guess, feed them a Jirachi. So if we hit another Scoop Up Net, we can still deal with something here. This is pretty cool. If we can get a second Crushing, we're really going to put a strain on them, hopefully. 4-card hand. Obviously, there is a Giant Hearth in play, though. Do I want to do anything else this turn? Not particularly. We don't have great outs next turn to be really doing anything, but we can Dedenne or Crobat next turn anyway. We could evolve this Dragapult into a VMAX, but I don't think they're going to be boss KOing either of them, so I think I'd rather just evolve the more important one next turn. So I think we can just pass here. We are definitely behind on tempo, but those two hammerheads were really, really good. That can hopefully make them have to work a little bit harder to keep up the pressure. Do find a switch for the Jirachi though, so they're not going to be completely dead drawing in most scenarios here. There is the Welder. Pre-Hearth as well, which is kind of annoying. They didn't Hearth to Thin. I guess they have there's the Fire Crystal. I guess if they were looking for Dedenne or Quick Ball as an out though, mind you, they only had 2 Quick Ball. So yeah, I feel like Hearthing there was probably fairly important to try and increase your outs. Because if you're looking for quick ball, you have lower outs anyway. Looks like they do have the 3 energy, so switching out will let them... yeah, they do have a switching out. We'll let them Flare Strike the Mewtwo. This is where things get scary, because basically now this EXP share is useless, because if this Dragapult goes down, we lose the game. So yeah, pretty scary stuff. I really want a Marnie next turn, so I think we have to Jirachi here. Even though we have like the full attack going, I still think we're meant to Jirachi here. I think we're also meant to either Crobat or Dedenne here. Probably Dedenne. Oh, the Crobat's prized? Okay. It's definitely the Dedenne. I want to get this out basically because I want to try and take out the Jirachi this turn. I'll try and Marnie them and take out their Jirachi and hopefully leave them in a position where they're not able to switch next turn. Okay, we do hit the Marnie. There's a Crushing Hammer as well. Unfortunately, we've hit the switch pre-Marnie, which is going to make it harder to find a Scoop Up Net because we're digging less cards, but that's okay. Only 1 net gone. We can also thin a card with Quick Ball. Realistically, we're probably not going to need all of these energy in most senses, in most worlds, because we're running out of time anyway. So let's just take a dead card that we don't mind Marnieing to the bottom. Then we'll go for the Stellar Wish. Hopefully hit a Scoop Up Net. We didn't hit a Scoop Up Net, but we did hit a Swell, which is great. Again, because that's just more disruption. There's the switch into the Dragapult. There's the evolve into the other Dragapult. And there's the Marnie, hoping we can hit a Scoop Up Net off of this to hopefully lock them down a little bit. Unfortunately, we didn't. Which sucks, to be honest. But yeah, we'll have to see how this goes. I mean, it's not the end of the world. We can still take a mid-turn prize with this, though they do play Scoop Up Nets of their own, so we could just lose the 60 damage. I still think it's right to apply all 60 there, though, to try and take a mid-turn prize next turn. Bouncing the Swell is fine. Not really do anything for them. If they hit into us as well, we can automatically just KO them because of because of the Horror Energy, which is good. Unless they're playing something like Giratina themselves. Or Fan. Maybe they play Fans. Actually retreating into the Jirachi. So this is why it would have been really, really good to try and deal with the Jirachi here, because they wouldn't have been able to make this play. Do you find the Quick Ball though? So they are back in the game. Pretty sad to see. I feel like if we'd been able to find the Scoop Up Net to deal with the Jirachi there, we could have been in a very good spot. Yeah, there is the Scoop Up Net from themselves. I feel like we could have been in a really, really good spot, but unfortunately, it's not looking that way. I expect to see a Dedenne from them here. That's a pretty good Marnie, to be honest. Okay, there's the Cram. They're setting up for the KO on the Dragapult next turn. Looking for the Welder. 2 in the bin. Okay, two in the bin means they missed it, which is great. Again, we're going to get to Marnie them, which is also good. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to move this Dragapult though, so the win is still very, very much possible for them. We can't really rope plus switch because we want to be taking out these 3 prizes here this turn, so we're just going to have to go straight for the Marnie. We have 2 Scoop Up Nets in deck, so maybe we hit double Scoop Up Net this time. We did not, we hit 1. Crushing Hammer not overly relevant either, which is pretty sad. So we're just going to go for the Max Phantom. They've had 3 Scoop Up Nets go. It's going to take us 3 attacks to win. So... It's actually not. It's actually not going to take us 3 attacks to win. We could win by KOing this and this next turn. So because of that, but we have to put the damage here to do that. So I don't think we have two turns. Sorry. I think we need to try and win next turn. I think realistically they can probably win within 2 turns. So yeah, I think we play to try and win the game next turn. Especially given that we can hopefully retreat and really force them to have the Cramorant out, rather than just being able to hit this in the active with whatever they want. Switch, more Jirachis. Scoop Up Net also means it was definitely a good idea to keep the... Wow, really? Not using the Hearths. Not using the Hearths pre-Stellar is so crazy. That's a boss. Not using Hearth pre-Stellar means that every Fire Energy you see could potentially be Welders, could potentially be Fire Crystals. There's a rope from them. Gonna be playing that rope. What do I want to go into? Honestly, probably this Dragapult. If we go into either of these, we have to move them. If we go into this, it could get knocked out, and that's our win condition down the drain. If we go into this, we could probably have to move it. We have a lot of switching outs, though. Maybe we just go into the Jirachi here. We have a lot of switching outs. If we let them KO a Dragapult, if we let them KO Jirachi, though, they can just snipe this. Oh, they can snipe this for win anyway. We should go into Jirachi here, I think. I think this hurts our win condition the least. Looks like they're probably going to be going for a beak catch here. So a Marnie would be good, but we've used 3 of the 4 Marnie in the deck. Hopefully looking... or being able to find a Marnie off this Jirachi would be good, though. Three in the bin, though. Not overly likely. Okay. We probably have outs in here, to be honest. Yeah, we definitely do. Our last Marnie's prized. Okay. So I'm pretty sure we will have lost just based on the fact that they got to choose 2 cards they want next turn. And it's almost always just going to be... Welder energy, right? So I'm pretty sure we've lost. The one saving grace we could have is being able to boss something up and stall. How many? They've used 2 ropes, 3 switch, 4 scoop up nets. Unfortunately, because we put damage counters on this Crobat. Because we put damage counters on the Crobat, yeah, we could be in a very, very bad spot here. If we hadn't put all 5 of the damage counters on this Crobat, we would be able to boss it up and stall behind it. Equally, if we just sent up the Dragapult, it could have been okay. This crushing is important. Okay, good. Very good. Problem is, we need 2 cards from this Scoop Up now, which sucks. No, we need 2 cards from this Jirachi, which sucks. We need a switch and a Scoop Up now. Yeah, I think we've probably lost just based on the fact that they got to beat catch last turn, and then we couldn't get rid of this energy. Because again, if we could get rid of this energy, we could just boss and stall this, potentially. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is locked for them now, unfortunately. Again, there's really no point in bossing anything. We can just research. KO with Jirachi. So this would be where the stamps would be useful. But again, I've always felt like I don't get to this point in the game with stamp. So yeah, stamp would be useful for by the time I'm at this point in the game, but I don't think I would have got to this point in the game if I was playing stamps over consistency. We missed the we missed the Scoop Up Net again anyway, so this looks real bad now. We wanted to at least try and take a prize here. So that's a shame. We weren't even able to Scoop Up Net KO this. It was in the bottom 4. Yeah, so they're going to be able to win based off the fact that we couldn't disrupt their hand after that beat catch. That sucks. Once again, if we'd been in a position earlier on where we had more energy, maybe we could have attacked a turn earlier. We would have had one more turn in this game. But yeah. Regardless, still a fairly close game, considering they dealt with our energy, or we missed energy turn 1. Still a fairly close game, to be honest, which is good to see, good to experience. We'll get one more game. I really enjoyed Dragapult. I think it's a fairly interesting. I feel like every game is slightly different just because of where the damage counters go and what your opponent benches and this, that, and the other. So yeah, it's a really enjoyable deck to play, in my opinion. I think the more I've tested this, the more I've preferred the Urshifu build, but this definitely has a lot of merit to it, just kind of really leaning in on that Dragapult, sort of the Dragapult line of that deck. It's like against a dark deck, which is obviously a bit scary. Do get to go first though, which is good. It's another deck that really enjoys going first. Pretty bad hand though. Yeah, the dark energy, the dark ray sleeves. All of this is a bit spooky. We have Dragapult energy though, which is good. T-Tar. Wow. So the good thing about T-Tar is Single Strike Crush is a massive attack, but they still have to use it to KO us. I think I'm probably Marnieing next turn, so I'm going to take a card here, even though if I research, it's obviously going to be pretty bad. Again, I'm going to attach this just because there's so many random fan of waves going on at the moment. I'd rather just attach and make sure we've got an energy locked for turn 2. There's the Houndour. So if we can find some Ziggies, we can hopefully start pressuring these Houndours down, which would be good. For that reason, maybe we do look to research instead of Marnie. Obviously, the thing about Marnie against this kind of deck, though, is evolutions can naturally be quite clunky. So Marnie would be pretty good in that scenario. Will probably depend on our top deck, in all fairness. Okay, so they play the Scroll of Scorn. Which is good to know. Because one Max Phantom would mean Scroll of Scorn plus the energy would KO us. Because they did get 3 Houndours down, which is pretty good. And there's a Scroll as well. Rope is literally the exact card I was hoping we were going to draw off the top. So that's amazing. Okay, let's see what we get here. We get a Com. Com's pretty sad, to be honest. So I think I'm researching here. So I think I'm just taking nothing and researching here. I should have roped first. Oh, it doesn't matter. They don't really have much of a choice here. But I should have roped first and then showed the rest of the cards in my hand after. They're sitting on 3 cards. It could be a nuts 3 cards, but I think I'd rather just try and really dig for the Zigzagoon, which we got, which is great. We also got a Dragapult and an EXP share, which is very good as well. There's the Ziggy. Anything else of important surprise? We have Giratina, which can be good for the single strike energy. A couple of hammers. Do have our Swell, which is good. Okay. It's a fairly... Again, nothing major prize, I don't think. I will deal with this T-Tower eventually, but the fact that we're getting to take on 2 of these this turn is really, really good, because it means we're going to be able to hit into a Tyranitar when it would be able to knock us out anyway, so we're not really putting ourselves in any more danger than we usually would be. So yeah, dealing with the Houndours first is very good. This is going to mean they probably have to Cragalanche next turn. And then by that point, a Scroll of Scorn would knock us out no matter what. So then we can happily hit into the T-Tar, knowing that we would get knocked out anyway. So all in all, this is a pretty good outcome for us. They did have the research. I didn't see what the other card they discarded was. Urn and a Tower. Okay. There's that amazing alternate art. And there's another T-Tar going. And there's a retreat. There's a scoop, sorry. So, as you can see, it can beat dark decks as well. Obviously, that's not the most conventional of all of the dark decks. But yeah, it can at least hold its own against some of them. Just being able to apply pressure to low HP basics is honestly one of the biggest, biggest benefits of playing this style of build. Whoops, I've definitely opened the wrong deck there. It's one of the benefits of playing this style of build. You saw that basically it didn't matter that they were playing dark Pokemon there. The fact that we were able to stop them from doing anything because we were able to deal with their evolving basics was fundamentally just one of the most important things. So yeah, even in scenarios where it seems a little bit dire, just having access to 5 counters plus Ziggy on the bench can really put pressure on the opponents. So yeah, but yeah, really enjoy this deck. Definitely try it out. Like I say, I'm still getting grips to this, not playing Urshifu, but I definitely think it deserves its place in the meta. It can be a little bit clunky at times, but there's a lot of sort of intricacies to the 5 damage counters and the Ziggies and the nets and that kind of thing. So yeah, really, really good. I also really enjoy the Scoop Up Net package at the moment. I think Giratina is a very strong card. I think Ziggy's a very strong card. And I think a Jirachi engine isn't as strong as it has been in the past, but Rope definitely does make it a bit more viable as well. So yeah, really, really cool build. But yeah, other than that, thank you very much for watching. I've been Jack from Omnipoke, and I look forward to seeing you guys in another video. Thanks everyone.